Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WP Watercooler, episode 90. Can you guys believe it? 90 episodes.
Not really.
No. Ridiculous.
So 90?
Yeah, we didn't go AWOL on this one. Let's go around the room here real quick and get everyone introduced. Let's start. Well, actually, I didn't even tell you what the topic was today, didn't I? Tips for when you're a WordPress developer or designer.
After 90 episodes, Jason's just phoning it in.
He's just like, I'm done.
Whatever.
I mean, I'm certainly not phoning it in.
Totally true. Let's go around the room here real quick. Get everyone to introduce. We'll start with Carrie. Carrie, tell us about yourself.
Hello, I am Carrie Dills, coming to you from Lincoln Beach, Oregon, for Beach Press.
Nice.
Beach Press!
Totally jealous. Chris, tell us about yourself, sir.
Hi there, I'm Chris Lemma. I blog over at chrislemma.com, and I'm at Beach Press.
You guys are hogging each other's bandwidth.
Yeah.
You guys are double beaches. You guys should go on together. Not like that.
Like Natalie and Suzette.
If you had cool headphones that magnet.
Hey, Cody, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, like Natalie and Suzette.
Tell us about yourself, Cody.
Hey, I'm Cody Landefeld, director at Mode Effect, and happy to be here with you all.
Nice. Dave, what's up?
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm principal at Spectrum Tech, and we build custom WordPress plugins and e-commerce stuff.
Very cool. Greg, tell us about yourself,
Hey,
sir.
Greg Taylor from Marketing Press here at Gangplank in Chandler, Arizona.
Very nice. Say, what's up?
Oh, I don't know. I just got here. Literally. Hey,
Is Say speechless?
Who am I? I'm Say Reed. I'm confused by Suzette and Natalie are in one thing, and then Chris and Carrie are, and you're all at the same place, and my brain is frying. Okay. Say Reed, WordPress, and talk
just
about
so we're
WordPress,
clear.
and I do this, and sometimes I talk, and... Yes, Chris?
Yeah, just so we're...
Oh, no.
No.
Next.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, you're up, Steve.
Steve, what's up, dude? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Steve Zengen. I am the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup, and I will be speaking at OC WordCamp this coming weekend.
Suzette, Natalie.
Hello, I'm Suzette. I'm the Suzette Frank. I'm the WordPress evangelist over at Media Temple, and I'm at Beach Press with...
Hi, I'm Natalie, founder and principal of Purple Pen Productions, also at Beach Press, because otherwise that'd be really weird, and lead organizer of WordCamp LA.
Nice.
And take a lot of WordPress trips.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Collectively, amongst all of you.
I'm Jason
Yeah. Who's in
Tucker.
the
You can find
background?
me at WPmedia.pro and Jason Tucker on Twitter. So the reason why I was kind of pushing everybody through here is we've been getting some complaints about that it takes about 8 to 10 minutes for us to get through an intro. So I've been trying to push us along a little bit here so we can actually get some time in about the discussion at hand. So
People
Why
want
would you want
content.
to do something like that?
They want
I
us
know.
to be quick and on
They want
point.
content.
What show do they think
Wait.
this is?
We're actually listening to people's comments?
it does happen.
When did that happen?
On occasion.
Wait, there are viewers that make comments?
Wait.
Right?
Wait.
Wait,
We
there are viewers?
There are viewers?
Good, so we're all on the same page. Okay, cool. Anyway, about those AWOL designers and
Go on.
developers.
Never
Go
happens.
on. That never happens. First of all, this is a tech-wide problem. This is not just a WordPress-specific problem.
What?
This is a tech flake issue.
Yep.
Tech flakes. Good for breakfast, but on my dinner.
Not bad for breakfast.
So I mean, I'll start because why not? I like to talk. Hey, so I have clients and all the time at the SBDC who come in and they do not have a developer or their developer left, and they're kind of left in the lurch. And normally it's not so much of a problem if they have like a premium theme you can update or whatnot, but sometimes you get a developer who left in the middle of building or remodeling or even after a custom theme was built, and they don't leave a lot of doors open or a lot of clues as to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scenario. All right,
Awesome.
cool.
And we all end up inheriting that type of stuff, right? I mean, that's kind of what ends up happening there.
Or getting blamed for it in general. As being a developer, like all other developers, I'm a flake, right?
So, but there.
Well, I mean, you are.
I think there's a responsibility that can be put on the client there to make sure throughout the process that the developer is doing their due diligence, they are documenting their stuff, and most importantly, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later on the show, is that you have access and control of the developer's code as you go. Because if your developer goes AWOL and you don't have access to your code, then you're really hosed.
Yeah, especially if you don't have access, if you're hosting with that developer, which I never ever recommend. I never think you should ever host with your developer ever, because then they have massive amounts of leverage that you do not have as a client. But if they have the access to that and you don't, and you have to do, even if you do a password retrieval that goes to their email, that can be a nightmare.
I want to mirror what Say just said for anybody that's watching this. Do not let your developer host your site.
No, clients should always have full control, all the logins, everything.
I call that having the keys to your castle.
It's a checks and balances thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Domain names, all sorts of stuff like that.
When I'm working on a project, I actually educate my client at the beginning if they don't already know this. I let them know that they're going to set up a relationship themselves with a host, so that they control that relationship. They pay for that relationship. It is theirs. This way, and I like to say, if I win the lottery, and I'm not, it's not my hit by a bus plan. If I win the lottery,
that's way better for me.
Yeah, buy the Clippers.
And I'm
he will go AWOL, and it's like in his contract.
To work with Microsoft and buy the Clippers.
I will never speak to you again.
If I win the lottery and I'm not around anymore, that you have the access to give it over to the next developer.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of client behavior, a lot of the times that it's the developer, and the developer, got in over their head. I've seen that a lot, where the developer gets in over their head and then stops responding because they don't actually know what to do, and so they just bail because they promised stuff, whatever. Yeah. But there is a lot of the time where the client is a pain in the whatever is legal to say on YouTube. Took us, yeah, that's a good one. And they have been not really reading or responding to what the developer is saying, and the developer has actually given them due notice and explained to them what's going on, and they still blame it on the developer. So a lot of the times I think you do need to first check with the client behavior and make sure that you haven't chased that person away, because I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
I think a big help in that direction is to have a very clear scope of work. What are the goals that you want to accomplish with your developer? If that's documented, not only can you pass that off to another developer, but the developer knows what he's getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a caveat there. A lot of developers will hide behind the scope of work. So just because you've developed or written a scope of work doesn't mean that it's necessarily final, right? It might be final in terms of billing, but
everything's subject to change. Things
change throughout the project, and a scope of work, in my mind, is a living, breathing document and should be revisited throughout the process. A, to make sure we're on track with what we promised we were going to deliver, but B, to see if there's any change orders that are necessary. And I think that's what Say was mentioning. It's really just a matter of simple communication and setting expectations and managing those expectations throughout the process.
Simple communication is really a bit of a misnomer for a lot of people.
Well,
businesses and developers, I think especially in the situation where developers are in over their heads, it's easier to bail than it is to, admit that you have said that. And I think that's really, if we want to talk about the reason that developers do go AWOL, I think that's the reason, is that they promise too much and they know they can't deliver.
What's that, Suzette?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that is a big reason, is that when developers get in over their head, or they'll promise something that they don't know how to do, or they find that the client is being too taxing, kind of, and they'll just freak out and leave.
Okay, so I misspoke. I said that it's simple communication. I didn't mean that it's easy to communicate. I meant what we're talking about here are simple communication issues. These are communication issues. That's all they are, right? If a developer goes AWOL, it shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, there's stuff leading up to
There
that.
should be symptoms.
If it's
Yeah,
a surprise,
symptoms.
if it's a
Maybe
surprise, then there is a
symptoms.
communication issue.
Yeah, there are definitely red flags along the way.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. You know, I mean, we've never inherited a project because somebody just went AWOL out of the blue. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, every time you talk to a client, it's, you know, they didn't follow through here, they didn't do this, and then like, okay, well, those are all red flags that the relationship is going poorly. Now it's up to you to kind of take control of the relationship and bring it back into, you know.
I love that you guys are basically giving what amounts to relationship advice.
That's
Steve's
what
like,
it
you
is.
need to communicate, and Greg's like, you need to be careful and watch for the signs. And
That's what it is.
Address the problem early on.
And Greg's dead on. And to add what you're saying, Greg, when I get those calls from a client that's had a bad developer relationship in the past, what I do is I start asking questions of that client. You know, because it's a two-way street. It's not. It's never always the developer's fault. So I want to find out the red flags on the client side.
Absolutely. And along those lines, you know, every once in a while we'll get a call and say, well, we've been through 3 or 4 developers and we fired them all, or they went missing.
Major red flag.
Run away when that happens.
That's when
Do you guys ever?
That's when I call Cody and I say, hey, you want a client?
We have a nice referral for you.
I think I've talked to that client too.
Exactly. I mean, there are red flags along the way that, you know, clients are just as crazy as some developers are flaky sometimes. You know,
Absolutely.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I think the clients who come in and say, you know, my developer just disappeared, they just left, like, I mean, it's like you don't believe that, right? It's like in an actual relationship, like a, you know, romantic relationship, if someone just left, like that would be like really startling. Like there's usually, like you're saying, all those clues that lead up to it, and funnily enough, the parallels continue with.
Yeah,
you know,
well, like you were saying,
thing.
it's not exclusive to WordPress. It's a technology issue all around, just like it's a business challenge all around. You've got, you know, clients who aren't especially good on hiring, depending on the size of the business and their role in the business. And, you know, a lot of developers are better technicians than they are business people, or maybe in a previous life they didn't have to communicate as well. So, I mean, yeah, just kind of reiterating. I mean, I think it's definitely more of a relationship deal.
So sometimes the biggest red flag is price. Client gets what they pay for, right? So they want something on the cheap, right? They've added a whole bunch of scope to the work, right? And the developer just can't manage it or can't deliver what the client wants. So they're ready to move on to another developer just based on price. And that's a big red flag right there.
Yeah. Cheaper is not always better.
Well, faster, better, cheaper. Pick two.
Yeah.
I will say, on the developer side of things, sometimes going dark or at least not being as responsive is a function of price as well, right? So if I am going to do a project for my cousin or my mom's best friend's daughter, those prices are ridiculously low, and they also take a lot longer, and I'm not as responsive.
Video bomb!
So, hey, yeah, Chris, that's a great point. I won't take on friends and family work. I won't work on my dad's site. I refer them to Alex.
That was so funny that you were doing that.
Those are my favorites.
The greatest thing.
I say that all the time, and for the most part, I don't take on those projects, but every now and then one sneaks in, and you have to explain, hey, we're going to go at a slower pace here because this
is not my day job.
Yeah, I have a day job, and then I have paid work, right? And then yours comes after that, right? Actually, it's like
I have a good
it's day job.
Yeah, what's your solution?
Paid work, family time, and then that.
Nap time.
Whenever family or friends wants me to build a website for them, I always want to show them how to do it, and then they can put as much effort as they want. And their effort, how much effort they put into it, is how much effort I put into them, teaching them how to learn it. So
Or tell
I
them
don't know.
what
That seems to
price
work
is.
okay.
And what you're both
tell
doing
what
is,
the real price
again, you're managing and communicating expectations. And where things go wrong is when those expectations aren't communicated. That's when stuff starts to go really bad, and anybody goes AWOL at that point.
Yeah, and you can't do that in the middle of the project. You have to do that in the very, very beginning.
Well, it's got to be done throughout.
Yeah, it has to be done
you're
throughout.
Right. It can't be done late. It has to be done from the get-go, and like Dave said, things change. It's very fluid. Things always change, and as those changes happen, it's your job as the developer to communicate them. But I think it's also the client's job to ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mike Montero, there was a video that David Markowski sent me, and I posted to the OC WordPress group. It's called "What Clients Don't Know and Why It's Your Fault." It's on Vimeo. It's from an event called An Event Apart. I watched that this weekend. It's more about design, but it's exactly related to what we're talking about here.
And what does he say, Steve?
He says,
your fault.
He says, again, the your fault part is what we're talking about. It's about communication, managing expectations. One of my biggest takeaways from this video is he says, don't take on a client you don't respect.
Very good
that.
advice.
I love that. If you
How are you going to have many clients then, Steve? That is not
don't
advice
say
you
it's
should
awful.
follow.
If you know from
the
project that you don't respect this project, you don't respect this client, there's something that's wrong, don't take it on. There's going to be problems, just like a relationship.
That's why Chris doesn't work with family.
I do think, though, a lot of the times, we don't get the full story from the client when we're getting kind of a referred client. Like, you don't know exactly why they left. It's not like you're reading the emails. And for all we know, that developer could have done their due diligence and could have tried to respond and could have been like, hey, you have to pay me for the work I did. Maybe that client never even paid that developer, and that's why they went AWOL, Maybe that was... So it's hard to make those, it's easy to point fingers and be like, those people suck over there, but we honestly don't know the reasons behind that leaving. So
I'm going to take a page out of Lemma's book, because I know this is a question he asks when he gets a call like that. Oh, wait, I'm talking about him as if he's not even on the cooler today.
I know, right?
I'm used to him not being here.
The Lemma president.
Wow. Wow.
So what Chris will say is something along these lines. Tell me about your pain points. Tell me what went wrong with your last relationship.
Yep. Tell me what it is you don't like about how it's working right now.
Yep.
Oh my
What's
God.
your budget?
Which, by the way, I stole from a TV show where they used to do plastic surgery. Remember that TV show, Nip Tuck? And they would say, what do you not like about yourself or whatever? And I was like, that's such a great opener. So I just said, what do you not like about your situation?
So I would suggest not asking the person that you're dating what your budget is. Just putting that out there.
Sizzler budget.
That's a valid question in a dating scenario.
Yeah.
It's not a question in a dating scenario. No.
Well, it tells you if you go into a nice restaurant or McDonald's.
I'm a little curious.
Oh my God, he's right though. That's true. And from a judgment, but you can decide then whether or not you take that client on.
Setting
and then also
respect
also does factor into that. You guys, we're like solving life problems here.
We are.
Right here
You
on
can
the
pick
cooler.
from any one of these menu items as long as
so
it's a
deep.
value meal.
Yeah.
Chris?
What?
I'm just curious how Jason suddenly got that advice years into marriage.
Yeah. It's like, wait a second.
He's giving us dating advice? It's been years? What? Is there something we don't know?
All right, so here's my question is, what do you do? So we can't really know, right? Because can you ever really know? And not in the philosophical way, but in the really, you don't know what happened previously. So when you do get that client who comes on, not speaking as the client anymore, but as the developer, they give you their project, whatever their story is, whatever their pain points are. How do you go about handling that? Do you deconstruct the theme and rebuild it, or deconstruct it and fix it, or do you rebuild it, or do you, what do you guys do when you? I'm sure you've had those clients, right?
Say you're gonna love this. It depends.
It depends.
Yes.
And what it depends on.
That was another softball for you.
My process is you do a small discovery phase.
Yep.
Right? So let's
You take them out to dinner a few times.
Get to know each other.
Get to know each other a little better. Maybe see a movie.
And that discovery phase might include several things. So it's it may be a code review if there's current code that's been written. It may be a project review, design review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scope review.
And you're saying you are recommending doing that as its own scope of work, separate from actually any work, like an actually scoped out discovery.
Before you get started, you need to know where you're starting from.
Most importantly, I charge for that discovery phase.
Absolutely.
I charge for my time. That'll give me a good indication of whether this is a client I want to work with or not.
Well, if they're
also-
serious about their site, they'll pay for it, right?
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Well, yeah,
And
and
you're
if you
setting a
charge,
precedent too.
yeah, exactly. If you charge for it, you're demonstrating your value, and when you deliver that value, hopefully it's setting a tone for the relationship to move forward.
This is hilarious.
Still a relationship issue.
Tell us.
It is. It's the greatest parallel ever.
I'm curious if we've answered this from the client side. What does the client do if their developer
Weep, cry,
is gone?
and tell the truth.
Yeah. Let's put ourselves in the client's shoes. What happens if the developer's gone?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, what's your phone number? You want to just give it to us all?
Actually, so
976.
yeah, do that.
So,
My recommendation for that actually is if the client is right now, if someone watching this right now is going through that or they're wanting to avoid that, the best way to do that is to start learning about what you're dealing with yourself. So I recommend start going to meetups and that type of a thing because you can start to meet developers as well as get some more training on WordPress in general. I think meetups are super helpful for that sort of a thing and an amazing resource.
absolutely. And you can hire a developer on an hourly basis just to do a review for you. If you're not technically savvy, I've been hired for a few hours just to go in and review where the project stands, to give an overview so that that client is then educated as to what they have at this point.
That's essentially what I do.
And what's left to be done.
At the SBDC, and I do that, and help them review the site and put together whether they need guidance putting together a new RFP for new clients or figuring out who can actually help them do what they need to do and help them articulate what they need to do because they basically need to triage the problem. If it's, is it an emergency, is it broken, or is it just something that they want to update? Those are totally different situations.
So let's talk about things they're going to need access to because we've alluded to some of them on this call. Hosting. Right? Yeah. Hosting number one, right?
Account, login, and password.
Is the hosting under your control? Do you have access to it? Do you have FTP access? Do you have root access? Do you have server access, cPanel, things like that?
Hopefully the domain is registered to the client.
So that's domain. So let's talk specifically about domain ownership.
Yep. This is like kicking the tires before you take on the client. You're like, is the domain name hosted? Is this set up? Is that set up?
So it's startling how many people have no idea about that.
Let's clarify for the non-technical viewers, right? Your domain name registrar is not necessarily your host. It may be, but it's not necessarily your host. They really are two separate accounts. So there's hosting, and then there's your domain registrar, which is somebody like a GoDaddy, Network Solutions, Namecheap, something along those lines.
GoDaddy.
It's kind of like a phone number and a phone service. You can switch a number from Verizon to AT&T. That's your hosting. The number is your domain.
Right. That's a good analogy. I'm going to use that.
So
you can.
The piece of advice here is you should not let your developer purchase your domain name on your behalf.
Yep. Nope.
Or your phone number, for that matter.
And in Say's case, they should not set up your Match.com profile for you.
Wait.
Very important.
Oh, wait, we're back to dating. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What? I don't have one of those profiles. I don't believe
just
that.
kidding. I was just joking.
I would like you to clarify that statement.
I was just joking.
And
okay.
Just to add to that, if Steve buys your domain name, it's probably okay.
No,
all domain names are worth $5 million. I want to talk about
Hang on one second. Let me finish this. The last thing is access to your code.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've hired a developer to write code for you, you need access to that code.
Which you get through FTP and cPanel and all that fun time stuff.
Possibly.
If it's uploaded to the hosting,
right?
It could be on a test site or somebody's local laptop set up.
Oh, I mean, that's if your site's not built yet. I guess they can go AWOL in that point too.
They could go AWOL at any point in time.
Basically, as soon as you give them money, you need to have access to everything they're building.
And what I recommend is, as the client, you should just host these things yourselves. Set up a relationship with a hosting environment.
Not on your own server at your house or office. That's not what he means.
Set up a GitHub account, right? So that the code is checked into your GitHub account and you own it. Own your own domain name. Those were my points.
Tell clients that don't know that the domain registrar and host can be different to get a GitHub. That just happened.
What's that?
You can walk them through the process.
I guess.
you
I just
just want to make
I
sure
think
you have
that's
access
like
to all of it.
Yeah, a lot of clients
no
you have to
reason-
walk through the process of getting the domain name, but that doesn't mean you have to own it. The client should.
Right.
No, I'm
So-
saying the GitHub. I don't
Yes,
think
but
people who
it starts with a domain name, then the hosting, then the GitHub.
I believe
Walk through the process.
I believe that the client should own their own GitHub account. They may not have any clue as to what to do with it. but
Okay,
they
I
should-
see what you mean. They're not
they should
operating.
own
They
it.
just it's all the changes are being logged under their
That's
account.
right.
But they
Gotcha.
now have
Definitely.
control of it,
That's
and
a
they
good
can give
point.
control to a new developer who should know how to use GitHub.
Okay, I agree with that. On
Now you're with us?
yes.
It's your
Yes,
insurance
I'm caught up.
policy.
I'm caught up.
It's your insurance policy if your developer goes AWOL.
Absolutely.
Because if they go AWOL, unless they're being retaliatory or really, punishing you for something, they're not gonna go in and like change the code or change the passwords or anything like that. They're just gonna leave AWOL, leave and not talk to you anymore. So
Okay, so that's a different situation. AWOL may equal pissed off,
retaliatory. Thank you. I had to say that
retaliatory.
properly.
Right?
Retaliatory. They're gonna retaliate.
And
Anyway.
if that happens, right, and they do something like take your entire site down because you don't have control of these things, my point is if you don't protect yourself with these things that we're recommending ahead of time, you're susceptible to that.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I do when I take on a client like that is go through and change all the passwords. Yeah. Change all the passwords, make sure they have copies of all the passwords. I kind of show them, hey, look, you can't have the same password for everything. Put it in a LastPass, put it in a 1Password, put it in something like that so they have access to it. Database passwords, like you're saying, GitHub. I love the idea of you talking about GitHub because that's that's a big thing. That's you're showing.
I will say this: if you have paid for your own domain, if you've paid for your own hosting, if it's on your account or your GitHub, and the developer still comes in and trashes your site or takes it down, there's a legal process you can go after them for, right?
Yeah, that's a whole
Because it's your property.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's yours. Now, if they bought the domain, if they paid for the hosting, if they set up the code on their site, you're going to have a harder time having that mitigating those issues, right? So put it on your own stuff.
Yeah, Chris, put it on your own stuff.
Hey, Chris,
Sorry, I
what's
couldn't
your,
help it. You thought you were going to get through the whole half hour talking like this without somebody mentioning it.
what's your 976 line?
Yeah,
Seriously.
it's this
976
microphone.
llama?
Man, I think you're in the wrong line of work.
Chris, I'm gonna get down on Clarify.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to write that down.
It's
Did you
this
say script?
it's this microphone. I'm talking the same way as normal.
It's a microphone, guys. I talk like this all the time. Okay, so we have we don't have time for my question.
No, we have 1 minute.
We have time to make fun of Chris a little bit longer.
Hey,
Hey,
Carrie,
guys.
talk us out of here.
Yeah, Carrie, tell us something.
But you have to do it like this.
But you have to unmute yourself too.
She doesn't want to do any of that. She's protesting.
Wow.
Or maybe she's been listening.
Sorry, it's just really hard to hear. But I want to tell you what my secret is. If I just get involved in a terrible client relationship, first I fake my death, and then I just
now, so it's good.
yeah, I've got my obituary ready to roll, all that set up so that they can't blame me when.
That's right.
And here I thought she was going to be
How many names are you
serious.
into now, Carrie?
Dead men tell no tales.
Is that your real name?
That's awesome.
never know.
That's the best solution I've ever heard. Fake your own death.
Perfect. Well, that's a great
On that note,
way to wrap it up.
where do you go from there?
If you want to learn how to
Fake
your
my
own
death
go
later,
to
guys.
Bill's website, go check that out. I'm Jason Tucker. Thank you very much for being on the show today, you folks. I think you enjoy Beach Press and all of its awesomeness.
Put sunscreen on this time, guys.
Definitely. Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Make sure you go to the website.
Chris Leonard just got a kiss.
Click the
Thanks,
subscribe.
guys.
Everybody. Let's
You
go.
did.
on.
See you folks. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Good luck. Or something.